Hello. If you're looking to hear about many makes, many patterns, and lots of tips, then this is the episode for you. It's been a while. I've shared outfits, adventures, but today is a massive sewing catch up. So if you want to hear about all the things I made at the sewing retreat, just in my spare time, at my sewing social, then I think we'd better crack on. I would say grab a drink, grab a snack, because I think there's a lot to get through. So where to start? Okay, let's have a quick chat about trousers. I think I'm wearing some that you haven't seen as well. So I made this pair a while ago, and yes, I need to tell you about this. So I have made before a navy pair of like sort of textured scuba that I made as a smart jogger in a Tilly and the Buttons Styla joggers pattern. So I thought, I know, I'll get myself this lovely burgundy textured scuba and I'll make another pair. Should work out fine. Well, I decided to understitch the pocket like you should. We've got an accidental bit of lettuce hem style there. I've given it a good press out. So what I would say is watch out if you're using something like a textured scuba and you're making a slanty pocket, because that hasn't gone well. And really interestingly, this pair, when I put them on, the pocket bag is super noticeable when I wear them, which doesn't happen in the navy pair. Now I thought this was the exact same fabric, just in a different colour. So these are definitely at-home trousers, because you can see what's happening with the pockets there, can't you? I could have put a little bit stretch interfacing in the slanty pocket. I haven't needed to in any other pair, so just watch out with what happens with your slanty pockets, I would say. Now what I'm wearing, I'll put a picture in here, so trying to show you, is I have on like a mustard cotton linen pair of bob pants, and I slimmed down the leg and all that sort of thing, hacked my pocket bag into my waistband again. They're perfect for this transitional weather between winter and spring, where you just need a trouser but it doesn't need to be so heavy. And I did little bar tacks on the bottom of the pockets this time as well, because I noticed that when I was putting my phone in the pocket of other pairs, it was just pulling at that point. So I don't know if I can show you that. Can you see there, that little bit there? Just to help a bit. So there we go. Oh, but of course, the pièce de résistance of trousers is I have almost finished my first pair of oxbow pants by Sew House 7. I started these while I was on the sewing retreat. They are made out of this lovely soft but no stretch denim that lovely lady called Leslie sent me, and she, I know, has dyed this denim. I'm quite enjoying this very light coloured denim. Looking forward to wearing this. I can see why she's dyed it, because I can imagine it would take the dye well, but I need to take a moment. I'll put a picture in here for the fit around my bottom. Now, in many trousers, I have to do a full seat adjustment. Totally cool with that, because it gives a good fit, and also you don't get that horrible pulling feeling at the back. I chose to make these over some other trouser patterns I got because I'd read that they were a nice fit for sort of a curvier body out of the packet. Yes, indeed. So number one win is back darts on the trousers. And it's a good long dart as well. It's a high waist, which I think gives a nice fit up to my waist, curving over my bottom. It is a nice sort of flared leg, but not too wide, because you don't want it too wide, like, you know, just dragging in the mud. But I did not put any of the pockets on because this was my toile, but actually I really like the smooth, uncluttered look. I also chose to do my top stitching in almost matching thread, so it's barely noticeable. I managed my first fly zip, which if you've seen the sewing retreat one, you'll have seen my happy dance. Fly zip, da da la la. look at that finish there. Look at the zip finishing right by the waistband there. First time. That's a make 9 tick off there. And my waistband is on. Just need the button. So I'm super excited to wear these because the fit is absolutely spot on. So I'm going to make them next out of another denim that's a little bit stretchy, so I might have to put a little bit of negative ease in. So we'll see as I do them. But I do want to take a moment for the fact that there are places where my top stitching looks great, but places where it just drifts underneath. Do you know what? No one is ever going to notice. So please just try and free yourself from that, because you wouldn't have known if I hadn't told you. Now I'm telling you to help free you, but what people will notice is that I have a great fitting pair of trousers, and also that I'm walking with sass because I'm really happy with the trousers I've made. So looking forward to those featuring in a Me Made week very soon. So that is all the trousers out of the way, but now let's get to other bottom halves. Now I realised a while ago when I was sorting my patterns, which by the way has, I don't know why I didn't do it before. I got all my patterns off the shelf and sorted the majority of them, not my small amount of big 4 ones, but the majority of them I have in big envelopes, into pattern types, like all the sweatshirts together, dresses, etc. It's been amazing for multiple reasons, including the fact that when I'm in the mood for a dress, I can get all the dress ones off and just have a look through like I'm browsing. Now, I'm sure lots of you enjoy doing that on Stash Hub, which is brilliant for that kind of organising. But for me, that physical touch of searching through them and looking what I've got, I really enjoy. So when I did that, I realised I did not have any skirt patterns. Now, I've got a couple of big 4 ones, but I didn't have any independent pattern printed out skirts or own any PDF patterns. And I was thinking that is interesting because I have made skirts, many of them have been self-drafted, and I had a little think about skirts, and I've talked before about that skirt, waistband, knicker and tights. Well, spring is coming, so you don't really need tights on so much, particularly if you've got boots on. So I did decide to have a go at making some skirts. So I'm looking over there because they're hanging up, so let me grab them. So the first skirt that I made was the Henrietta skirt by Spaghetti Western. I, interestingly, was making this at the same time as Rosary Apparel was making hers. Really love this pattern because you have these side yokes with gather. So down the front, if you can see, it's like plain down the front, and then it gathers around the sides on each side. Now you would wonder, does that make like your hips look wide or anything? Well, number one, first of all, I don't care. I'm not here to look smaller or less noticeable. But number two, I really like having that sort of defined gathering in one place. It's a really interesting like style, and that's what I'm looking for in clothes, is detail and interest. So I made them in this fabric, which is one of the ones I bought from Textile Station in Slough, and it's brushed on the back and like smooth on the front. The waistband is incorporated into the skirt design. Now I think I prefer a separate waistband. I like that sort of separation. But before I have a little hack around with it, I couldn't help but make it in this fabric, which is from Grid Fabrics. I made a top, you might remember before, a V-neck top. That was in the winter version. This is the spring palette. And there you go. So you can see there, look, that lovely gathering. I have just got to, have I done that? Oh, I have attach my elastic. I've just got to try it on, trim it, and then this is ready. That is just amazingly joyful. Now, to show you, to keep my waistband light, I have done just a turned over, but I did finish all my lines inside with my variegated thread on one side, white on the other, because I find having 4 variegated very expensive. But look how that variegated works so beautifully with the fabric. So loving that pattern, having some thoughts about hacking it. It was interesting that Janelle of Rosary Apparel, she sized up to get more gathering in her skirt. I liked that. She lengthened hers as well. I'd quite like to do a lengthened version. I also thought about just doing more gathering in here, so making this piece bigger, so that gets super gathery in there. I thought that would be interesting as well. And actually cutting it off the top and making a separate waistband piece, because I like it when you get the real definition line of the waistband. I know that's a preference, but that is a pattern that I am loving right now. And I've spotted another interesting yoke skirt pattern. It's called the flirt skirt. So that's next on my list. And then I had a vision, which I will share lots more details of another time, of a self-drafted skirt, which was made of panels. So this is version 1. I think I took a picture of me in it. If I have, I will put it in. So it's made of 10 panels, and then I have a separate waistband, which obviously I've gathered in. Loved that one so much, and I have enough of this fabric left to make a little matching top so it can look like a dress. I then made it in this gorgeous fabric from Sew Me Sunshine. It's one of their exclusive prints. So it's this one here. And this again is made from 10 panels with a separate waistband, and just the way it flows, I love it. So if you would like more details about how I designed and made my self-drafted skirt, leave me a comment, let me know, because I could film a video showing how I did it, how I worked it out, show you my pattern pieces I made. I made my own pattern piece and all that sort of thing. So I'm happy to do that. So for a person who had no skirt patterns, suddenly I have 4 skirts for spring. I really enjoyed wearing the Sew Me Sunshine one to the So Yellow for Endo party. Put a picture in here. I'll talk about that top in a minute. And I wore the other skirt out when I had my hair cut, just with a t-shirt on one of those lovely sunny days we've had. It felt very nice. So let's talk about the top that is in the Sew Me Sunshine So Yellow for Endo party. Here it is. So this top is the Reine, R-E-I-N-E, by Styla, which is the adult patterns for Little Lizard King. So here it is. So you've got the gathering on the raglan at the front. I decided to do the back, neckband and sleeve band in green, because although I quite happily wore this yellow for Say Yellow for Endo, I just didn't want to feel too yellow. So I think that meant it tied really well with this green. So I did feel like a daffodil actually, in a nice way. The first one of those I made was in this lovely sort of olivey green. This was a remnant from Sew Me Sunshine, and I have to say this gathering in a plain fabric works so well, and I am just loving green at the moment. Somebody else was saying they sew with a lot of green. Just loving green and all shades of it. Love this one too. I was really happy with this make. I made the size that it said, and it's a nice fitted top. If you don't like things too close, you would want to size up, but maybe think about what you do at the shoulders. It's got quite a wide scoop on it, but I like that. It's just like when you get to spring and summer, it's just not so high up. It's a bit more space round there. I did the sleeve cuff on, but I didn't do the bottom waistband. There is a waistband, so it can be almost jumper-like, but I don't want that on a top that I'm going to tuck in. If you weren't going to tuck it in, that would be fine. But on tops like this, I'm not going to be tucking those in. So I'm going to be tucking those in, so I don't want any extra bulk at the bottom. So I left it off. However, let me just get something. I am making one in a French terry. It's actually a brushed back French terry, but spring colours. And so I've sized up 2 sizes because I don't want it quite as close fitting. I've done a thicker neckband because obviously it's more jumpery. I'm about to do the cuffing, And then I'm actually going to cut the jumper down so it's more cropped, and then put the waistband on. So it sort of then sits on the top of my trousers, so that you can sort of play around. Look at that, look, the gathering there in the jumper. So I think with a pattern like this as well, it works well. So it's definitely a pattern that you could, once you've made it once, you could change sizes, hack it around, I would say. So other tops that have worked well, I have made a Whitcomb top. If you've seen my what I wore in my wardrobe for March, it features in there. This fabric was deep stash and is really like sort of silky on the outside, but like has this lovely sort of stable cotton back to it. So I have no idea what this fabric is called. If you know, please leave a message in the comments. I have no idea where I bought it from. Many unknowns, but it was deep stash. I found it. There wasn't a huge amount of it. And I was like, I really want to try the Whitcomb top. Let's do it with this, because it's got black backband, so I could do black neckband and cuffings and so on. And oh my goodness, I love it. I will be making more. I like the fact that there's a bit of billow to it. I like the fact there's a little bit of billow to the sleeve without being too much. I like that it's sort of a mixture of smart and casual. I like that you can do it out of just a little bit of fabric, and I could change the length of the sleeve, length of the top. It's a good amount of choice. I have to say, navigating my way through the choices in the patterns and the pattern pieces was a bit, but I just sort of plunged in. Sometimes use a fabric that's not most precious to you and just plunge in, just go for it, because I'm so glad I did, because I'm really happy with it. I sewed up the woven parts with my sewing machine, but finished the edges with overlocking, and then attached the neckband and cuffing just straight on my overlocker. Now, if you don't like to do that, you could use Maraflex, but honestly, straight on the overlocker, because you gather the sleeve first so that you fit it into that. But yeah, just be brave. It's got a little bit of gathering at the front of the top as well. Let me get it the right way around to show you. So at the front, you do a little bit of gathering here. So you do that like gathering with the sewing machine and pull it in before you attach it as well, which is nice. And at the bottom, I didn't need to gather it. I just stretched the cuffing at the bottom of the waistband to fit. And then, of course, it just pulls it in a bit. So I have to say, it's a great one to sort of blend between the two of woven and jersey. But also you can make it entirely in jersey as well, in knit. Device too hot? Okay, this is Editing Sam. If you can see all like the dust angels, as I like to call them, floating around, it's because the sun is out. I have no desire to complain, but just so you know, I noticed that they are there. If you're interested, have a little look at that join button just to see what's there, because you might like it. You might be interested. You might want to come to one of our little virtual members gets together. You might want extra videos. Have a look, see what you think. So let's talk about cardigans. Now this one I'm pretty sure I have shared with you. This is a Tilly and the Buttons Bertha, and I am finding this such a useful piece in my wardrobe. Black and white, works with so many other colours. And then I recently made a Tilly and the Buttons Bertha, and I made it in this green and black, and I cropped it a bit. So I quite like having that shorter thing. So like this one, I wishing it was sort of here, that sort of more blues on, is that the word? So I did that with this one, and I am almost thinking about going back and making another one, finding a different black and white style fabric and making one, because yeah, it is nice to have just a nice throw on cardigan like this, isn't it, when you just need that extra layer when the weather varies. Should we talk about what's on here? Okay, so this is another one of my trials of things. I really love the Deer and Doe Scirocco jumpsuit. I really like the way it fits, and I've been thinking for a while, I'm sure I could take the top and add my own skirt. And I've had this fabric for some time in my stash, and I get it out, I stroke it, I think about what to make with it, put it back, because I hadn't been able to get any more. I'd managed to get it in a different colourway, but actually this is my preferred colourway, and I hadn't been able to find any more, and I really had tried hard, including like Google lens searching different names, finding the manufacturer. I tried, I promise you I really tried. And it's weird, isn't it, when such a lovely fabric isn't printed again, yet other fabrics do the rounds for so long. And I decided, do you know what, let's just go for it, let's do it. So I took the Scirocco top and made it exactly as it is. I did put a navy band on here because I was short on fabric and worried about not having enough. And it's very drapey viscous, and I wanted a bit more stability there. So I'm pleased I did that. I took the waistband exactly as it was on the jumpsuit, but then the bottom part was just what fabric I had left to make a skirt. So what I did is I joined it at the side, so I cut it into 2 rectangles, but on the front, like the jumpsuit, I folded and made 2 pleats, because that's one of the things I like about the jumpsuit is these pleats. So rather than gather, I made pleats. I'm trying to remember if I did them at the back, and yes, I made pleats at the back as well, because I just really like that sort of pleat look there. And I am super happy with how it turned out. I haven't finished the sleeves yet because I made this on Sewing Retreat and haven't finished off the sleeves. I will just turn them over so it's not a raw edge. And the same at the bottom. I think I'll just turn it over and just stitch it. Just got to be careful at the bottom. There's a lot of fabric going on the bottom. We don't want to end up with an accidental lettuce hem where we stretch it as we sew it. So probably might use a twin needle actually. So yes, that's perfectly timed for spring, isn't it? And in a way, like, see, this cardi would go over the top. It's crazy, isn't it, to think 2 patterns, but there's something about this black and white pattern on here that just seems to go with a lot of things. But I'm relieved that I finally made it into something. Now, I want to talk to you about tops. I am still on the big sleeve journey. I haven't stopped. So I got myself this piece of Fabric Godmother fabric. So again, made a Vista top, which is by Twig and Tail, and decided to draft and make myself a double bell or trumpet, depending on how, sleeve. So I took the original pattern and followed an instruction to take the sections, splay them, lengthen them, so that when you attach them, they're overlaid. So underneath, where that's attached, you've got the overlocking edge there, and then the same for this one here. So hidden underneath both of those, there is a finished sleeve there, but then the bell comes over that. I will be doing a whole separate sleeve episode. So if you're like, whoa, what did you say there? Don't worry, I will do one and go into detail. So there was that one. And then I did go on the exploration of the Dilla top by Notches. Now, interestingly, again, whilst I was working on this, clearly Reine was as well too, from the Northern Soul Sisters, because she's shared recently her Dilla top. Now, Reine is a much taller lady than I am, and I do think that makes a difference to how patterns look on bodies, because I'm 5'2" and I think she's like 5'7", 5'8" or something. Love this sleeve. It is a bit tricky to see in this fabric, but I wanted to use a deep stash fabric again. But it's got lots of folds. There's one here, 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 and then you've got a lantern sleeve and a cuff. For a first go, I'm happy, but it is not a pattern for me as it is. This square neck is too wide for me, needs taking in. This gathering at the front is not for me. So there will be more on that, but I have explored it. It was quite fiddly to make, but I liked it. I think this sleeve could be appearing on a different bodice, I would say. And there's a lot of gappage there, so you really don't need to have to open that to get your head over. You could just, like I've done, just attach it. So you get the nice opening at the back, but you don't need a button there. You could sew one on, but you don't need a functioning one. So I definitely wouldn't make the dress version as is, but the sleeve I love, so we'll see how we go. And I did make my first leg of mutton sleeve, but it's not muttony enough, and I do think I mentioned that before. So the sleeves is continuing, and then I will film a big thing. Now what I'm going to do now is talk about a couple that didn't quite work how I thought they would. So these next three makes are makes from the Sewing Social, and I hinted at them but didn't really show them. So the first one I made was an Avenir jumpsuit, and I made the size that many other people who seem to have similar body sizes to me made, but I ended up needing to add this stripe down the side because it was too tight. I am yet to cut out the pattern again. I did reorder it to print. I'm wondering if maybe it wasn't printed quite correctly, but I'm still curious whether to size up, because I think a lot of people have lengthened the bodice to get more billow, but it was tight across my bust. So I did follow the measurements, but as a jumpsuit goes, I think when I get the fit right, I'm going to like it. I'm not sure. Is it meant to be gathering in the sleeve? I can't remember. No, it's meant to be like a big cuff. Not so sure about that. So elastic round the neck, and then elastic channel in here. So I did a lot of rescuing in this pink stripe, which I like. But you know when you make something and then you can feel the pain of making it? That's a bit how I feel about this. So jewellery is a little bit out on the Avenir at the moment. It wasn't an instant love story like the Scirocco was, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, I'm going to try again. If you've got any tips on the Avenir jumpsuit, please leave me a message. And then I decided I would make the Styla jumpsuit, which is by Closet Core. And this one, I didn't cut out enough pieces for the inside. Right, sorry, I had to go and cool my phone down because of where it is. The sun is shining on it. Who knew that I was going to be like, the phone was going to be too hot in March? Anyway, so as I say, I forgot to cut out the inside pieces of the Styla jumpsuit. So actually I grabbed something off the swaps table, lovely Julie had bought in, for the inside. I made it in this bright pink modal jersey, which has lovely weight. It's got like a good weight to it. I knew I could end up looking like the Pink Panther, but I really wanted to not make it in a precious fabric first. So I did put the tie straps on the back. I did everything. Again, another channel of elastic. Sewing Social, channels of elastic. Did the wide leg, did the pockets. Couldn't really put anything in those pockets. I might put a video in of me wearing it here. Couldn't really put anything in those pockets because, yeah, very noticeable. I think maybe a darker colour might be less noticeable. I don't hate it. Is it the colour I don't love? Am I being harsh? Should I make it in a different, like maybe a textured jersey, or maybe like, I don't know. Jewellery is out. So, jumpsuits, not having the success I'm hoping for there really. And then I thought I'd put myself through some more elastic channels. I did mention this one a bit, and Kate's mentioned this one a bit. I made the Holland Park dress by Nina Lee. I have steered away from these ones with elastic underneath the bust for a while because as a fuller busted lady, you've got to be careful that they're not like up here on you. So I did leave a channel out, but even with that, I can feel it trying to pull up. Some lovely people have left me messages after the sewing retreat video saying that actually they think it looks really nice on me. Thank you, that's really kind and really lovely. But I don't know if you find this, but there's the looking nice and feeling nice. And I have worked really hard to really move towards the how it feels, because I want to feel comfortable in what I wear. And the problem when I put this on is I can feel these elastic bands trying to rise up around my chest. I also don't know how I feel about this elastic business on my shoulders. Maybe it's because it's new. I don't know. I'm not going to bin it and sack it off yet, but I definitely won't be putting the elastic in here to create another amount of poof that would be right in line with my bust. I did do the channels and everything, look beautifully done. Yeah, there's a lot of channels in this, a lot of gathering. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. So I am going to wear it a bit more. I might sassy around the house in it for a bit, see how I feel. However, I have got a good strong success. The Fabric Godmother Peony is definitely a win-win for me. I love the way it feels. I'm not aware of my waist in it. I feel put together. I feel swooshy. I feel nice in it. I like the sleeve on it. So there's lots of things that are like tick, tick, tick for me. This was actually the first one I made, and I actually doubled over the sleeve frill, so you had the fabric on the inside like that, so it was half the depth it should have been, but did a beautiful invisible zip, like the sleeve puff in there that's made of this, like this. And I did stitch in the ditch on the shoulders to hold the facing in. I just did the one frill on the bottom for this one, but the second one I made, which I wore to Plymouth Frocktails, which is in my Me Made week, I went frill crazy on the bottom of, and it, yeah, ends up being like a flamenco dress, but love it, feel great in it. It's telling me my phone is too hot again. So that one, even though it was meant to be a toile, I am happy with it and wore it out when we went for a roast. So I today am wearing, as I said, Tillian Button's birthday, but underneath I have on a ready-to-wear top. And I'm wearing this for a reason. Let me get my microphone a minute. Oop. I'm wearing this for a reason, which is I want to make some tops like this. Now, I have seen that the Soho House 7, their new top, which I'll put here, has similar like this round here. But they've put like a facing in. And this, if you can see, is joined down the front. And this line here is like a pleat, because I had a really good inspect of this top yesterday. If anyone knows a pattern, so can you see how it goes up around my neck? I just love it. Really love this shape of top. If anyone knows a pattern like this, please let me know. I am going to have a go at creating my own. We shall see how that goes. But why do I love it so much? I really like this sort of V shape with this here. I like the way it sort of gathers up around the neck. I like the drape of how this feels in that it's room without being too big. I like the cut of the sleeve on this. I like that it feels casual, but I think this neckline instantly makes it look smart. I wore this to work yesterday, and I feel like I could make this in like some t-shirt fabric, and it would just elevate it. It'd be like an elevated t-shirt. So if you do know of a pattern like this, let me know, but I am going to have a go myself. We shall see. Made a few things. Some things were not what I hoped they would be, but that's okay. We can live to sew another day, and not everything needs to be a winner, does it? You know, sometimes you've got to scratch the itch, you've got to try something and see how you feel. What am I doing next? Well, I think the winter sewing is done. I feel like I've sewn the things that I want to sew. I finished up one last pair of burgundy chanterelle pants the other day. Put a picture of them here because they're in the wash. And I just feel like it's time to sort of stop looking at and making any winter things. I haven't got any more left that I haven't finished. I think it's time to sort of plough on with my spring plans, really think about what I need in my wardrobe. And I think this weekend is wardrobe sort out time. I think it's time to get out the stuff that my brain now associates with winter and doesn't want to wear, even though I could make it springy. If my brain is looking at it going, no, it needs to come out, it needs to go in the loft. I then need to get some of the spring feeling clothes out. Even though it's chilly, I want to feel like spring. This is the problem I solved last year, which is why I don't want to wear what's in my wardrobe, because I wanted to feel like spring. And then I need to look for the gaps before I start sewing too much and just sewing things for things reasons. I think before I go sewing too much more, I need a bit of introspection before I go any further. I hope that's the word. Do tell me, where are you at? What are you doing? What are you thinking? I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I would love it if you gave a thumbs up, a like, a comment, all those things that tell YouTube and me that you like what I'm doing. I'll catch you again soon. Bye.